I've put together some of the compositions here. This is kind of a where am I on some of the things that I've been working with. You know, things just change, you know, as I go along. So this one here, which was the parts of everything, I turned it into a longer format instead of the square. And all I've done here is I've left my original arrangement. I still have this tension issue here, and I will talk about that. But I added, you know, just to make it a little bit longer, I added a blank bottom here. And I guess something could be going on here. You know, it becomes a landscape when you do this kind of thing. And I added a little strip on top, and I've pinned a piece of a very old ikat that I wove years ago. I have a lot of these weaving pieces, and they're part of something I was calling the Crossroads series, and that's to bring some of my older weavings into my stitching pieces. So I've just stuck this here, and you know, this is, I can tell, going to be something long term, so I'm just happier with this setup. So I'm just going to leave this for now. I'll stitch it all down, talk about the tension problem probably. And then you know, a lot of times when you're focused on something, you start to bring in a lot of the new ideas you have to something you've worked on before. This is part of the Spirit series here, and what I did to this one is I couched the letters. I stitched over it and wrapped them with some white thread because I thought that kind of looked constellation-ish. I added some thread beads. I even added a thread bead and then stitched through it to bring it into the rays here. So I just used that constellation idea to kind of give this one a little twinkle. And I actually do have some of those stars in here anyway, which is a motif that I use a lot. So I just wanted to mention that because it was done in the mood of this class. And then you remember this one. This was just one of the moons woven from before. And I just wanted to talk about this really quickly. This happened when I just kind of folded over some triangles here, and I just kept going with that. And I just used a bunch of pointy scraps here to create kind of a Boro style star, and I love that. I mean, this is just a bunch of pinnings basically, but it really started something in my mind. And this is part of one of those Megamendung clouds. Parts of those really look good. So this is just a start for something. This is still here as it was, and I still like it, but I really have no idea where I'm going to go with this right now. This was another piece that I had started that I mentioned that was kind of a 9 patch, and I'm continuing to stitch on that, but I did add sun, moon, star ideas to the top of this. I'm starting to stitch motifs, and I'm starting to come up with some ideas here, so maybe I will just talk about these. I'm going to do a bunch of sketching and stitching on just the single motifs. So that brought this into this whole project. You know, I really love this idea of, I used the star kind of as a field here, and then just used the rays to fill that space in. That's got a lot of possibility, really. And these I just left pinned. I actually layered them, those cutouts and discharges, just to remind myself to play with them somehow. And I've got this piece, leftover piece from Deb Lacativa. You know, I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking that these could work together somehow. I love how that happens. Yeah. So these are just kind of pinned here for now. And I also like how they work with this, so I have no idea where I'm going there. They're just there. And this one is all stitched down. And I've got that idea that whatever you add rays to could become a sun, which means the sun doesn't necessarily have to be square. Anything can become a sun, I think, with those points around it. So I've got a lot of things here. I've got a lot of other things that I'm going to continue more with, but I just wanted to show you how much I've actually generated by just thinking about sun, moons, and stars while these things were sitting in front of me. And I'm sure they will continue somehow.